Mike Kara here. Well, welcome back to our next edition of What's Up America with Mike Kara. As always, proudly broadcasting in beautiful Echoe, Florida, USA, planet Earth. And my guest today is Mr. Bret Crow, who's a great singer, songwriter, musician, performer, composer, Tic Tac sensation. And I've seen Bret on Tic Tac, and he stitches videos and duets videos similar to I do. And Bret, it's such a pleasure and honor to we've been talking. We've kind of crossed paths for the past few months, but it's great that you could be here today and tell us all about your music. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your story, your background, and how you got into music and how you got to Tic Tac and doing all these things.
Right on. Thanks, Mike. My name is Bret Crow. Hey, how's it going, everybody? I've been playing bass since I was about 14 years old. So it's about 24 years now coming this July. And I've been that's all I've been doing. I've been playing in punk bands and writing my own music and doing session work for other people and playing like all over the place. I've been doing live music ever since I've been playing. I've just been playing in bands and doing as much as I can, writing all kinds of stuff. I got a band, Time Knife. It's my punk band that's going right now. I got an album out. Got 2 or 3 solo albums of my original music where I use a looper and I have effects and I solo and I sing and I do harmonies and I beatbox and I create songs and I do improvised stuff. Whenever I perform that music live, it's sort of like a Reggie Watts type of experience, which, I'm creating like right on the spot and everything. So that's the kind of music I like to do. Yeah.
Well, great. So as we mentioned, Bret, you do these Tic Tacs, and do you do a lot of your original music with that, or is this more just kind of taking songs, or even just taking a video that doesn't have music and creating music? Is that how it works, or?
Whenever I started doing TikTok, I was doing a lot of bass covers, like just showing like how to play songs, or like I would play how I would play it. That way you would have a visual representation of how to play that song. And that was like once I started actually getting going, because I had TikTok like at the beginning, like I started getting it at the beginning of the pandemic, but then I was like building myself up to try to get like to do more creative things like through that avenue. And then at the beginning of 2021, I started just posting videos of me playing bass. And then once I actually got like a good duet set up, I would find the videos that I would add bass to. And most of the time I'm writing original riffs to those things. Like you'll see like anything that's like a natural rhythm, or like something where people are keeping like a beat, like on like a machine or something like that. I'll either do a cover that someone suggests to me, or I'll write something original to that. In with stitches, like something that would follow, that would be like a funny, like people may know the song or something like that, just to keep the joke going.
Great. So you mentioned, Bret, about being in these punk bands, and so my question is, as a bass player, I mean, is that your favorite genre? I mean, is there other genres that are more exciting as a bass player, or is that the one where you could really get down with it, huh?
The kind of music that I really like to write is like big ensembles. Like I'm really influenced by Frank Zappa. Like he was the one that got me to go into college. Like whenever I went to music college, like that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do composing stuff. And I started, like once I had started playing bass all those years ago when I was really young, I got into Primus like right off the bat. So I really wanted to learn how to do like really cool slap bass stuff and like interesting bass lines. But then I had a lot of friends growing up that listened to really heavy music and punk rock. So I'm like, that's really a part of my, like, it's really close to my heart, and it's really fun music to play. And I'd like to incorporate all those ideas, like a sort of Primus feel, intricate lines, punk rock, like heaviness and energy, like really fast songs. Like the Time Knife album that I wrote, like most of those songs are like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, like really in your face, like hit you really hard, and then it's over. It's a lot of fun kind of music that I like to play. Like not so much like on the political side or anything weird like that a lot of punk rock is known for, like expressing. I like singing songs about, you know, Godzilla and being happy, positive stuff, things like that.
Oh, so we see back there, Brett, you got a Bob Marley poster there. I mean,
Yeah,
is that someone that is that the type of music also that you like to play?
that's I really like Bob Marley stuff. That's my girlfriend's poster. I got the Simpsons one right there. There's a bunch of other punk rock stuff. There's Pokemon. I got a few Primus posters. There's a Primus poster right over there. This one right here, that you can barely see offline. That's like Frank Sinatra and and what's his face, Bing Crosby. Yeah, the Rat Pack in the studio. Most of the time, I really like Primus style music, or like weirder, kind of like out there music, like the weirder stuff that Zappa does and things like that.
And you know, one of the things our audio audience will be listening to is the music. And you know, I've listened to some of your songs. I've actually danced to some of your songs with the Mike
Mm-hmm.
Cara, the Clone Squad, and they seem to be not so much punk, but they do have like, I don't know, rock, you know, little different genre feel. I mean, is that right? I mean, with those songs, that you think those are a little different than, you know, the punk music you do, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Whenever I do my looper music, I keep that pretty funky and danceable. You know what I mean? Like I'm creating like atmospheres, environments for like characters to live in, like with that kind of music. And it's loops, so I like to keep like a really like infectious groove to it. So like gets stuck in your head and you want to like listen to it over and over again. Like the loop itself has to be really catchy. So I like to keep it more lighthearted, uplifting, funky as the main like sort of that funky, blues, soulful, and silly all at the same time.
Oh, okay. So you mentioned, Brett, you know, about being in these bands and having your solo, you know, career. So, I mean, do you, with each one of these, keep everything separate? I mean, when you do like your own shows, do you bring out any of the punk or any of the metal, or maybe do something from Tic Tac, or is it strictly your original music?
Sometimes, well, a lot of the times I have like my original music that I'll do like a set, like I'll do songs like straight through, or I'll play like a chunk of the album, like 4 or 5 songs that are on my albums in a row. And then I'll just get a wild hair and just start making up a song, or have an idea that I remember from doing a video earlier in the day from TikTok. I really like that riff, so I wanted to make a new thing out of it, or just take that one of those ideas and just expand upon it whenever I'm in those moments. I keep a lot of like whenever I'm doing my solo stuff, improvisational, like because people will come up and they'll ask for a cover or something like that too, because then I could just stop on a dime and then start playing it and then go back to the other thing because I already have it saved. Or I can just create like a whole song based on an idea of a suggestion that they gave me. Like somebody wants to have a song, let's say, about like rubber ducks, and then I make a song that's entirely about like rubber ducks, and they're going down a river, and there's like a whole story, and then they have voices, and but starts with that one funky riff, and then you can expand upon it and do harmonies and all that stuff, create like a whole environment of a song. Like it's one whole unique thing each time. I've been considering, like I've been doing live streams on TikTok too. And each time that I'll like come up with a riff that I've never played before, or it's a song that's been completely improvised, I like to call them NFT songs. Like they're one-offs and they're only existing in that one moment. It's pretty fun.
Now you're talking, Brett, about a lot of improv. You know, being able, and that's amazing that you can do that. But my question is, you did a Tic Tac with a guy, you know, and the song was Love Shack, and you know, you did the bass part. I mean, did you listen to the B-52's song? I mean, or did you just kind of come up with that part yourself? You're talking about improv, or?
Oh, well, last year I started picking up a lot of gigs as a bassist in an 80s tribute band. And that was one of the songs that we had started playing. So I also picked up gigs playing in a live band karaoke scenario, and we're playing the music along for the people as they're singing the song. So we're like checking out the songs, listening to them, playing them back for them. So then I have all these bass lines from these popular bands internalized. Then I can take that and add it to any other song, or I can like, I'll have that bass line memorized, or I'll look it up real quick and then play it back. Like for any of those ones that I'd have where it's the bass line only, or if someone else is doing like all those things, like they just become internalized for me. Like I have a lot of them memorized. Or I'll use the cheat sheet of going to like Ultimate Tab or something like that just for real quick for reference. But most of the time they're ready to go.
Okay, Brett. So I want to talk, a little bit about, these videos on TikTok that you do. Now, we mentioned that you have, you play along different songs, maybe an artist that they're playing guitar or drums, and then you layer them. But one of the things that you also do is, in one of my videos, you actually duetted was, you take somebody, I think it was the one where the guy dropped the pizza on the floor, and I'm going, no, the horror. And you put me, that's totally awesome. You put a beat. How do you get those ideas? I mean, do you do it like just one take, or do you work on it, or?
Oh, whenever I'm scrolling and I see a video, or I think, or just thinking of an idea, or I see someone else's video that they had added onto it, I'm thinking, man, I could do something to that. So like for years, for instance, I just thought it would be fun to have like doom metal music to you, like saying something that's really like, no. So it's like a couple of takes for me to actually like think of something, because I'll sit there, like I'll have the video in my favorites. Every time I come across a video that I think I can add music to, I'll add it to favorites. So I have it in like the compendium and go back through it. So I'll sit there and I'll just play around for it until like something finally comes to fruition. And I take that idea and I do it over and over again. So it takes quite a few, sometimes it takes like 30 minutes to an hour just to like hammering it out and going back over and trying to get something that feels right, you know? So yeah, it just takes a little bit, but I'm right there sitting with the video each time that I like come up with it, and just doing take after take until something solidifies.
And one thing, Brett, that I've experienced, especially with my dancing videos, is I get dozens of songs a day to dance to, and maybe songs that are not my cup of tea, out of my comfort zone. So I mean, I'm sure you get requests. Do you have that where it's like, well, this isn't what I really do, but hey, why not? Let's make the guy's day or something.
Oh, absolutely. There's been a few songs that like I have never listened to, but I'll go and I'll learn them to make a bass video, because people request, like there's a song by Hysteria by Muse. I never really listened to Muse, but I learned that bass line. And there was also a song by Kyuss, Kyuss. I never really listened to them either, and I played that song, and I thought it was really cool. It's like they're showing me songs that I would have not listened to previous, and learning them helps me to appreciate that music a little bit more, because then I'm like helping someone out. I'm learning to play a new song that I've never really listened to before, and it's a fun exercise for me because I'm using my ear training that I have to like pick out the notes by listening to it, playing it along, looking at a tab score sheet or something like that, just to make sure I'm getting the right notes, and then playing it correctly, and then tagging the person and then being like, there you go, dude.
Oh, great. So one thing, Brett, I wanted to ask you about is, I don't know if I could come up with a cool name for the instrument, cat keyboard or cat board, or what I'm talking about.
That's what I call it.
Yeah, and so I mean that's pretty neat, and you will do that with, like, if somebody's saying duet me, sing along, you'll actually then play the notes playing me out instead of this. Yeah,
I've had that. I just got it earlier this year, but I had a friend like couple of years ago who had it, and we were just messing around, playing like Zelda songs or whatever. But having that, and then that's another good ear training thing for me, because then I'm picking out like the vocal melody, like the actual notes in the actual rhythm, and it just sounds funny to me. Anytime I'm like, "Oh, you want a vocal line?" and I'm like, "Man," like you're doing the ones like Smash Mouth, the All Star, or I did Rain and Blood by Slayer on those. That's really fun to do too.
Oh, great, great. So, Brett, as we mentioned that, you're a very good singer too, and one of the songs that our audience will be listening to is Peanut Butter Jelly Time. So, I mean, when you're doing Tic Tac and you're using that, keyboard that makes meows, I mean, you ever think that maybe you could, sing some of that too, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would just have to mess with it for a little bit.
Oh, so Brett, you mentioned a lot, a lot of these punk bands. So I mean, for you, is it hard to keep everything straight? Or I mean, they're all gigging out, they're all playing. I mean, do you have it so you could coordinate it, all of that, or?
Oh yeah, I keep communication very open with the bands that I'm doing, because everybody in there has their own schedule. So it's a real collaboration to get everybody together and get on the right path. And then you got to break it down to where you're having just getting together with the drummer, working on the stuff, making sure that he has that part, then getting with the guitarist, making sure that has. And so I'm doing a lot of one-on-one to get everybody to come together to have like a big rehearsal, because everybody, has their own schedule. So then you have to figure out the best time for everyone to get together all in the same exact place to play the songs for a little while and have the proper length for rehearsal, because some of those songs are really intricate and they need a lot of like hammering over and going over the same part over and over again for a little while, and just making sure that everything's tip top shape. Because we're anytime that I go out and play a show, I'm an entertainment entity. So I want to make sure that we're playing everything to the best of our ability and not going out there and just seeming like it's a hobby, because we're really trying to put on like a really good show with really good music for all the people out there.
So, Brett, I wanted to ask you about, your venue. So I'm sure you have a lot of different venues, being in a lot of different bands, but like for your show, is it a bar? Is it a craft brewery? Is it a restaurant? Is there looking for a solo act? How does that work?
Oh, I'll play anywhere that'll let me play, man. Like, doesn't matter where it is, as long as they'll like host us and have it. I've been playing a lot at there's a couple of taco shops here in Denton where I live that have allowed shows to happen, and then there's a couple of bars that are having shows that we'll play there. I'll put together like a show of like 3 or 4 bands, and then me either opening or closing the show. and most of the time it's like restaurants or bars, because that's where a lot of like, if a venue is going to be a place, they're going to serve alcohol, or it's going to be something like that.
Okay. So I wanted, so Brett, you mentioned that you're in Denton. Is that Texas or?
Yes. I'm in
Texas?
Denton, Texas. Yeah.
And one question I had, here in Orlando, Florida, we've got like 30, 40 of these craft breweries. I was just wondering if that's something that's made it that way and in that area, and something you play, a craft brewery.
Yeah, there was a place that was opened up for a while here, and I think it closed down like a year or so, like around the pandemic time, I guess, maybe like right before. It was called Audacity Brewery. There's another one, Armadillo Ale Brewery, unfortunately just closed down. There's a lot of them in the Dallas area and the surrounding. Like there's, oh yeah, it's a big thing. There we have a bunch of places in town that will sell those local beers here, and they're from like all around, like not just in Denton, but like Dallas, Fort Worth, surrounding areas. It's a pretty big thing.
Great. So I mean, with the punk bands, is there like festivals, or is there certain like places that, I mean, will you literally play in the same places? Let's say you're doing your show, and then you know, with the punk bands, will you play in the same venue, or?
Like I'll play my solo set and then play with a band like after.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally. Like I've done that where I've played in like the three bands that are playing for the night, and I'll just like keep my stuff up there and play through the whole night, because yeah, that's that's just how I roll. I can do like all kinds of music like all night and try to stay on top of it as best as I can.
Oh, so that's interesting that you've got all these venues, you know, with all these types of music. But I mean, does any of the bands ever say, "Hey, Bret, you should play a song or something you do from your own set or from another band"? I mean, they probably you know, they probably follow you and your other, you know, entities. But did they say, "Hey, you should try that with this band"?
Oh yeah, I've had a couple of bands that wanted to do a cover of the superhero power song for sure. So I've like jammed with them on it and see what we could do. Haven't brought it to a full band situation yet, but it's definitely we're definitely able to, just working out the kinks, you know. Having to being able to actually get together to rehearse and make it work is a whole other thing, because I've been doing that stuff with just a looper. So fleshing it out like we're in a real band that has to do those same musical movements consistently over and over again, like without the use of a recorded device that's like just playing it over and over again, putting the human element into it, if you will.
Oh, okay, Brett. So one of the things I wanted to mention, about Tic Tac, and if people use your music, in their videos or your song, is some guy was telling me that you get not much, but you get a little something. That you get like money for that. I mean, you're credited for that. So I mean, if somebody uses your music, that you're rewarded somehow, then.
Yes, it's a very, very small percentage. But if you have a song that, let's say, like blows up and has like more than 100,000 or more views or whatever, and it has that your song like in the little spot, like down in the bottom, it will accrue some sort of monetary compensation on that, but it's very, very small right now. So just trying to actually get people to listen on the bigger ones, or you having that sound down there to then point them in the direction of, you can also stream it on these other places, or you can go to Bandcamp and actually buy the album, where the money will go more towards the artist instead of just those little bits of compensation that you would get from a streaming platform. It's easier to go and actually buy the album, where the artist will get more of that. I think is like the better avenue. That's what a lot of my friends in the circles that I'm in talk about.
Oh, and speaking of that, Brett, that's a good segue about buying albums. How does one buy your album, and what is on the album, and what albums are they?
You can go to my Bandcamp, and that's the Bret Crow Show, all one word, then bandcamp.com. And I have 2 albums of solo music where I do all the songs created with a looper, and I do all the parts, singing, backups, solo, beatboxing, doing the bass line, doing all the words. All that is written out. And I have 2 albums of those on my Bandcamp. I have an album of instrumental music that I wrote in my computer. That's just like 13 songs of fun, madness, sort of dancey. I like that stuff. And then I have a couple covers I have on there too. You can also check out my band Time Knife, which is my punk band, where I wrote all the rhythm instruments. And I have my buddy Matt Cochran. He plays saxophone and keyboards. And my other buddy James Norton. He's an amazing lead guitarist. He did a few of the songs, did the guitar solos on a few of the songs. I have my buddy Ethan Bouchard. He sings in a band Strong Work with my buddy Matt, who did the keyboards and sax they play in a band together, and he did guest vocals on that. And you can find that at timeknife.bandcamp.com. Time Knife is one word too on that. And both of those are in the links in my bio on my TikTok page and my Instagram page. So if you go there, you'll see the link that says Linktree, the Bret Crow Show. All of that stuff is linked up on there. You can find my merch, my albums, every social media page, and that's where you can follow me forever.
Oh, good, great. And one thing we'll also mention, if somebody would like to support you and, throw a couple of bucks in the hat, that on Tic Tac you have a kind of a virtual tip jar, as I do. And,
Absolutely.
it's something that, people could do if they want. It's definitely not, required, but, it's kind of fun sometimes when somebody throws a couple of bucks in the hat. It's fun to know that, you affect people, huh?
Oh, absolutely. I'm like PBS, it's I can only create content that's brought to you by viewers like you. I try to keep that mindset everywhere, because most musician jobs will have a tip jar. So this is like, whenever we're on TikTok, it's just like busking in the real world. Just everybody's like doing it at their own pace. So.
Oh, great. And those Tic Tac videos are great. And I mean, do you have any plans of maybe going out and about, or doing like a Tic Tac? Well, now with your live, is that necessarily at one of these venues, or with Tic Tac you like to keep it at home rather than out and about or somewhere?
I do both. Whenever I like doing like at home streams, because then I have more control and I have all of my instruments here. And so if someone has a request or a song like that, I can pull out that 6-string bass that I have, or I can connect to YouTube and then play along with the song, so they can hear and visually see like how it's being played. Or anytime that I go out and I have a live performance, I like to live stream, because each live performance is like same yet different, because I throw in all those improvisational opportunities of songwriting within there. So it's really situational. But most of the time, anytime I'm performing live or in a live situation, and it's me or one of my bands, I'm going to set up the camera and capture as much of that as possible. It's either that or just lining into the board and then recording it and then putting it up somewhere else,
Oh. So, Bret, you mentioned about the 6-string bass, and my question is, what is kind of the purpose of the 6-string bass? I mean, I think it's neat, but I mean, it's just to get that lower tone. Then, I mean, the lower notes. Then, or?
it gives you the opportunity to hit the lower notes and the higher notes. So on a 4-string bass, you have the lowest note E, and then A, D, G, going low to high. So on a 6-string, it adds an extra lower B string, and then it also adds an extra higher C string. So for solos and stuff, you can get like higher notes and be able to play those easier, or bring them out, so to speak. Plus, you can also get the super low stuff like you would for playing some Primus things or any heavier music. So it's both.
Oh, so I mean, Bret, I understand that there's, with basses or standard tuning, and then I guess there's some other tuning where you've got to tune down. I mean, is that something you do, or do you just keep an extra bass that's already tuned down a half step? Or?
Oh, if someone's playing like in a lower tuning, like most of the time I'll just take my 4-string and just tune that one lower to match the note that I'm going for. Because most of the time you only have to play on one string. That's for like the heavier TikTok duets that I've been doing. Like I'll just tune like 1 or 2 strings that are being used the most, and then tune them back up like right after I'm done, or like use them situationally. It's whatever makes the song sound the best. And I don't have to switch out guitars or constantly do that. I can just do it real quick and turn it back up without like damaging the bass at all.
Oh, okay. That's great, Bret. Well, we look forward to more of your great Tic Tacs, and so I mean, if you don't mind me asking, how many Tic Tacs do you do a day? I'm not going to say because sometimes it's a few more, but I mean, for you, is there a certain amount you like to do, or you just do it when the time's right? Or
I have intention to each time that I sit down, I like to put out like at least like at minimum, at very, very minimum 3. And then 5 is what I usually strive for. And then sometimes I'll get up to like 8 to 10 sometimes, but that's like throughout the day. But I'm sitting there and I'm just like, some things like they come together like super fast, like with little effort. So then I can post those real quick. But then there's some that I'm like, I want to make it the best that I can. And I have to do like 50 takes of a piece, and it takes like 45 minutes to an hour sometimes, just because I'm trying to get like all the right notes in the right rhythm at the one time. And then sometimes like on busier days when I'm doing stuff during the day, or I only have a little bit of time at night, I'll do like 1 or 2, or have those ones where they're like, make this a sound. So I just upload that because I'm like really busy that day, or I'll just have those on retainer. But most of the time, like 5 is the number. That's usually pretty good. That helps keep the momentum going.
so I mean, you like to put them out as soon as you get them, so you don't have like 50 videos in your draft folder, then, huh?
Oh, I don't have any. Like I just post them like right as I get done with them. Like that way, like they're just already out there. If I did that, I'd have too much stuff on my phone. I'd just have so many videos. It's just easier for me to just like get them out there as soon as possible. That way I don't have to think about them. Then I can save the video that gets saved on my phone to another place. Then you can post them other places as well.
Oh, okay, Brett. Well, I really want to thank you so much for your time, and I encourage everyone to go and follow you on TikTok and Facebook, and what else you got? Twitter? Or?
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I'm starting to do Twitch too for live streams. Getting a new computer pretty soon, and let's see. Yeah, any of the streaming platforms. All my music is on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, Apple Music, Tidal, Deezer, Snapchat Stories, Instagram and Facebook Stories. Anytime you want to look up my music, it's on every streaming platform. Just look up the Bret Crow Show and Time Knife, so you can check out the whole breadth of what I do.
Oh, since I have you here, Brett, you mentioned about this Twitch. Everyone wants me to get on this Twitch. What exactly is Twitch here?
Twitch is just a live streaming platform. It started out as like for video games. So if you're playing like, it has like, it can see you on the screen and the video game that you're playing, and then they're saying stuff over that. So musicians have been doing it more lately, as in just playing drum covers or improvising and stuff like that. Sunfire, she's a really popular one. She has a really great live stream where she plays drums and does silly stuff and has filters that are really weird, and has a lot of good time with that. Also, Jesse Miller, Ye Old Miller on here, the guy who's, oh my God, it's corn. He's been doing that and just getting on there and doing vocalization stuff and singing along covers, adding corn things to it. I would get like the times that I've gone on there, I've just like played improvisational music or done some bass covers that I wanted to do. It's just a good. It's probably the best live streaming website right now too, because then if you're on there all the time, you can get affiliate and get paid to do that, and then stream all the time, and you can just get on there and talk to people. Like it's like you can also just chat and have like people can come on there and ask you questions or something, as in like a real time scenario. It's just a really good live streaming platform.
Okay, Brett, that sounds good there. Any final thoughts or anything else you'd like to mention here?
Support local live music, support local original music, have fun playing music, and have a great day. I hope everyone is enjoying themselves and feeling good. And thank you for all your continued support. And thank you, Mike. I appreciate you reaching out and talking to me. It's been awesome.
Sure, my pleasure, Brett. My guest has been Brett Crow, and you've been listening to What's Up America with Mike Cara. And please catch us again next time. Okay. Let's just a minute here, and yeah, that was good there.